Hey everybody, it's Nicole Magouirk here with the Simon Says Stamp video for their summer school event going on right now, June 10th through the 21st over at the Simon Says Stamp blog. Today I'm going to share a card I created that is nautical in theme, and I'm kind of mixing and matching different supplies and stamps and dies from my collection and all kinds of, just using lots of different manufacturers to create my card, and I'm going to show you how I put it together. The first thing I did was I'm taking just a scrap piece of Nina Solar White cardstock, the good smooth cardstock, and I'm going to stamp this cute little jar. This is from a Hero Arts stamp set, and I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to be coloring with my Copics. So I need to make sure that I am using the right ink to color my stamped image. Then I just have this little piece of masking paper here. This is the Eclipse masking paper, and I stamped the wave border from the Avery L, the naughty, not like naughty like you're bad, but like a knot that you would tie from like their nautical themed stamp set. And I just need a little mask because I want to stamp the little sailboat from that in my jar, but I want it to be kind of, to look like it's behind a wave. So I'm going to want to stamp my wave first, and then I'll need the mask. So I went ahead and stamped my mask, and then I'm going to ink up that wave using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink again, stamp that along the bottom of my jar, and then place my mask right over that. Then I'll go ahead and ink up the sailboat from the same Avery L stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that inside my jar. I just love the jars and things that are available in several different companies' stamp sets right now. I think they're so fun to use to create fun little embellishments for your card making and other paper crafted projects. I'm sorry about the camera shake. I kept bumping my table or my camera or something. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp a few of these smaller waves from that same stamp set inside the jar, just to make it look like the sailboat is floating inside the jar tipped on its side. I like that there is a variety of different wave shapes in the stamp set. So once I have all of that done, I'm ready to begin coloring. And I'm just going to use some Copic markers to add color to my jar and to my image. So I'm going to speed through this pretty quickly because it did take a few minutes to color it all in, and I chose to go with a pretty nautical theme for my card because I'm keeping my card base fairly plain and simple because I have so much going on, or will by the time I get done with this accent piece for my card. I have so much going on with this that I really wanted to keep the focus on the jar. So I'm using quite a bit of color and things when coloring my design. And I kept it, like I said, nautical in theme, so reds and blues, whites, things like that. So I did do red and aqua and then kind of a royal blue for my sailboat. I've listed the colors that I've used for the boat at the top of the screen here. So I'm just layering the color on. I didn't really do any fancy coloring for this particular image. Just a tiny bit of shading and things like that to make the boat really shine. Started out with a pretty light color, kind of a peachy color of red, and then gradually built it up to look like an actual red color. So I'm just using 3 different colors here and blending them together. Pretty simple shading. And you can go over it as many times as you need to get the desired color and shading and everything like that. So I went over it quite a few times till I got it the way I wanted it to look. Now I'm ready to color the water, and so I'm starting pretty light. I don't want the color of the water to overshadow the sailboat in any way. So I'm just kind of gently coloring in with my very, very lightest color of aqua. And again, the colors I've used for the water are listed at the top of the screen. I'm also shading just a little bit of the lightest aqua color along some of the glass shapes you can see here along the, or where the glass is highlighted, I guess I should say. And I forgot to color in the little flags at the top, so I'm just using the same colors that I used for the sailboat for those. Next I use some gray to color in the lid of my jar. And then I'm just shading that just a little bit over the water and away from the lid, just to give the rest of the jar a tiny bit of color so that it isn't a stark white. And as these cool grays dry, they do lighten a bit. At first it does seem just a tad bit dark, but I'm blending it all out with that C00, the very lightest cool gray color, and it really helps even out any of those grays or harsh lines. I'm going to use the Sakura glitter pen to color in the little heart on the sailboat, and the white gel pen to add some detailing to my sailboat. And then I'm using the black gel pen to add a little bit of detailing to the sailboat as well as a Copic multi-liner, just to darken up any of those lines that maybe didn't stamp really dark originally. And once that's all, the glitter pen and everything is dry, I'm ready to die cut my jar. And what I like to do is, because this is a framelits die that coordinates with the Hero Arts jar stamp, you can see through it. So I did all of my work and then I laid the framelits over the shape, and I like to hold it in place with a sticky note so that it doesn't shift when it goes through my die cutting machine. And you can see it die cuts it perfectly. So there is my cute little accent for my nautical themed card. I'm going to go ahead and set my big shot to the side, and I'm going to work on the background of my card. I'm going to use this greeting stamp set from Simon Says Stamps' newest Inside and Out Sayings 4x6 stamp set. And what I really love about this stamp set is that it works perfectly for stamping a greeting on both the inside and the outside of your card. So I'm going to stamp the greeting here, "I simply cannot imagine my life without you," using some Black Memories ink right on the front of my card. And you can see that I didn't get it stamped very well, so I am just, pardon my head in the way, but I'm going to line that back up and carefully stamp it again. And you can see that now it's nice and dark and stamped on there just like it needs to be. And then this line of 3, or the stamp rather, with 3 lines, is from the Avery L stamp set, from the same stamp set with the sailboat. And I'm going to ink it up with Versamark ink and stamp that along about the bottom third of my card. And then I knew that I wanted to use embossing powder over those stamped lines, and I wanted to use 3 different colors instead of 1 color. Thought I'd go ahead and make it a little bit more difficult for myself. So I'm just going to use a sticky note and mask off a couple of those lines while I add my black embossing powder. And I'll show you what I did when some of the embossing powder got onto one of the other lines. There is a way to fix that without having to redo the entire front of your card. So I'm just tapping off the excess there. And then I'm going to take a paintbrush. I must have tapped off a little bit too much. I need to add just a tiny bit more. Okay, tap that off really good. Then I'm just going to take a paintbrush and gently remove that black embossing powder from that line. So I did the same thing here. You can see with the blue, and I'm just going to gently remove any of that excess that got on the bottom line. This is the Wave embossing powder from American Crafts. I used black and then Wave and then the Rouge, which is the red. So this is the last one, and I don't need to use my sticky note anymore for it. Just grab my card and add the embossing powder. I could have, I'm not embossing, I haven't embossed any of these yet, I guess I should say, because it will dry out the Versamark ink on the other lines, which defeats the purpose. I didn't want to have to re-stamp it. So using my paintbrush again to remove any of those little flakes, make sure I get that covered everywhere. And then I'm just going to take that over to my heat embossing gun and heat that up really quick. And I'll have a really simple but fun nautical themed front to my card. Now I did use several small heart stamps from different Simon Says stamp sets. They're all listed in the supply list on the Simon Says Stamp blog, and I'm going to use that Sakura clear glitter pen again to add just a little bit of detail to a couple of the hearts. Really love my glitter pen. I use it all the time. And then I did die cut one small little heart here. I die cut several and I ended up only using the one, but I used one of the coordinating heart stamps and stamped it, and I'm just going to glue it in place here along the bottom of my card. Figure out where I'm going to have my jar. Just kind of wanted it laying right there, kind of like the hearts are falling from the jar up the card or something like that. So, and there is my little heart die cut. And then I'm ready to stamp the inside of my card with the inside greeting from that same inside and outside saying stamp set. And again, I don't know what my problem was, but I had a little trouble getting it all stamped that first time. So I'm going to line it back up and stamp it again. And I'm going to add some little hearts on the inside of my card as well. I love taking what's on the outside of the card and bringing it to the inside of the card to really give it that nice finished look. So I'm just deciding what little hearts I'm going to use, and I'll stamp the rest of those on the inside. So I'm using the navy, pale tomato, and cornflower blue and red royal colors of Hero Arts Midtone inks. I used a little bit of foam adhesive, wrapped some twine around the top of my jar, and adhered it to my card. And I'm going to snip the ends of that twine, and my card is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this summer school video, and check out the rest of the videos over the next 2 weeks over at the Simon Says Stamp blog. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.